Do not adjust your radio frequency. This is not a test. This is the Artist First Network. Cool.
Across all time zones, covering both hemispheres. It's time for a featured music special on the Artist First Radio Network, something we have been doing now for 21 years. We've lost count. It's in 15,000 artists, 16,000 by now. Frankly, folks, we've lost count. This afternoon's broadcast is an international one. We got a great artist coming your way on this hour. You're going to like this. Joining us from Israel somewhere is our guest tonight. She is an accomplished businesswoman. She's a singer-songwriter. She teaches vocals and drums. We're going to talk about that. Let's get right into it and welcome Lital Yohay. Hi, Lital. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
It's a pleasure to have you on our station. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Where are we reaching you tonight? I guess you're in Israel, but where in Israel?
Home.
So
actually.
You're in Tel Aviv?
No, I'm in a city called Kfar Saba. It's 30 minutes from Tel Aviv.
Well, welcome. We've had many Israeli artists on over the years. It's that's why we do this particular broadcast at noon Eastern time, folks, so it's not ridiculously late for Lital over there. Well, Lital, first of all, let's get this out of the way. Look at you. You are so beautiful. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That helps, doesn't it? I mean, you're in the entertainment business. Lital, you don't know me from Adam. I've been a professional musician for 40 years now. And so I know a little bit about the business, but anyway, well, let's talk about you as a person. Many of our listeners are going to be hearing about you for the very first time. Give us a little background on you. You were born, then what happened?
Okay. Well, I have always known that I wanted to do music as a profession. Started since I was 5 years old, and it started from dancing, actually. Back then, at early 90s, and we heard a lot about Michael Jackson, Janet Jackson, and it started there, and I don't know, it kind of happened when that music is my passion, and that's all about it.
Do you come from a family of musicians, or are you the first?
No, I'm the only one.
Wow. That's interesting. We've been having this ongoing argument, well, not argument, the study, an informal study for 21 years. Are musicians the way they are because of their environment, or is it genetics? So it must be your environment then, huh?
No, I'm not really sure. Well, I think it's complicated. I don't know. Maybe it's a gift or something about the soul, maybe. I don't know.
Well, most people don't ever write songs. I mean, the average person will never write, especially not only write it, but go through the process of recording it or make a video. I mean, it's very difficult to do all of those things. The average person has no idea how tough it is to have a song in your head and then to get it to come out of a pair of speakers the way you want it to. That's a whole giant process. We'll talk more about that in detail in a bit, but do you remember the very first song you wrote?
Yeah, actually, it's not one of the lists that we're going to play. It's called Soon, and you can check it out on my YouTube channel. Actually, I wrote it when I was 22, a bit late. I started from singing and a bit piano playing, guitar playing. After that, drumming, and somehow along the way, the writing and composing and processing songs and acting and writing scenes and everything.
You're the total package. Yeah, that's great that you're a singer, songwriter, piano player, guitar player, and you teach drums.
Yeah.
That is neat. I don't know that in all my years in the business, I've ever come across, first of all, a female drummer at all, let alone one that teaches. You know,
well, we have a few female drummers over here. Not all of them teaches.
Well, you know, no offense to you, of course, but we have a lot of running jokes over here in our bands, you know, about drummers, such as, what do you call a drummer without a girlfriend? Homeless. I don't know if that makes any sense to you over there in Israel. And what do you call people who hang out with musicians? Drummers? Anyway, it's not a fair. Drummers are fantastic musicians. I don't know why we make up jokes about them. But so, I mean, obviously your singing would probably be the most important aspect about your musical career. But would drumming be second? You say you mentioned piano. There's videos of you playing guitar. I mean, gosh, you're a pretty well-rounded artist.
I'm trying to be.
Well, let's get into some music. The first track we're going to play, ladies and gentlemen, is called Hide, Hide, that type of hide. I really like this song. It was two are my favorites, but this is one of the two. I really enjoyed this particular cut. Would you like to say a few words about it before we spin it for our listeners?
Yeah, well, this song is about two young guys that decide to break into a house, and one of them breaks the silence and confesses about their crime, and the partner that did the crime regrets that he cooperated with him, and that's it.
You try to have me where everything's okay. You try to let me to escape from the den. I try to be sophisticated when I got, and every time I did, I was wrong. You promised everything would be just fine, and on the phone I line a thief and pedophile. I swear to God I can't escape from this mess, but all you do is got me confess. I can't believe how everything went so far, and I'm not a fool of everyone around. You try to help me with no success. Everything would be okay, that's what you said. You try to hide me where everything's okay. You try to let me to escape from the dead. I try to be sophisticated when I got, and every time I did, I was wrong. You promised everything would be just fine, and then on the phone I line a thief, a pedophile. You swore to God I can't escape from this mess, but all you do is got me confess. I can't believe how everything went so far, and I'm not a fool of everyone around. You try to help me with no success. Everything will be okay, that's what you said. I can't believe how everything went so far, and I'm not a fool of everyone around. That's what you said.
I told you, folks. Wow. Lital, that's, man, great song. Absolutely great song. In fact, I told her privately off the air, listeners, that we would love to add this to our rotation. We just need your permission to do so.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we'll talk more about that off air. This is a interesting business that you're getting into. I'm just going to say this outright. In the United States, the music business has a terrible, terrible history and reputation because, as an industry, the music industry cheats and steals from the artists. Countless lawsuits for the artists just to try to get their money from the so-called big record labels. There's a huge influence of organized crime in the music business, and that's not the perception most people get about the music business, but that's the reality of the music business. Gee, now are you still encouraged to go forward here?
Yeah, you just gave me a chill right now with everything, but yeah, I'm still doing it because it's a dream of mine since I was like 5 years old. I told you so. I knew what I wanted to do, and well, I hope that it turns out for the best.
Well, I'm only one guy, and I'm only one opinion. But what we've seen over the past 15 years is a shift in the music business where the individual can do it themselves. Using network marketing, social media, many artists are doing very, very well, at least over here in the States. If you can bring in $50 or $60 or $70,000 off your album, that ain't bad. That ain't bad. And do it on your own and keep all the royalties and rights to yourself. One of the worst things we come across here from retired record executives who appear on the station is they scream to the audience, "Don't ever sign a major record deal." But yet every artist out there wants that big record deal. At least in America, they're I'm going to get that. Well, that can sometimes be the kiss of death. Okay, let's move on from there. Let's talk about the writing process for you. You have quite a selection of different types of songs, not only musically but subject matter-wise. What's happening in Lital's world when it's time to write a song?
Wow, this is a big question. Well, most of my songs, I just making up stories. I don't know how I just do this. Like Hide, for example. And I have two songs that really, reflect something that happened in my life. It's not one of the songs from your list, but really, I don't know. I'm a person with a huge imagination world, and I don't know. It's just something that I get into, and I don't know how to describe it.
Some artists say when they compose a piece of music or write a lyric that they're creating it themselves. Other artists will say that they're able to somehow tap into a higher consciousness or something else that is then flows through them. You see what I'm saying? Do you think this comes from you, or where do you fall on that argument?
I think that I'm just getting into some kind of a character, and I have recently found out about myself that I really like to play. After writing the scenes and the stories of 2 video clips of mine, and directing everything, I just found out that maybe this is it. I'm just getting into something, and emotionally and everything, and maybe this is what really making me writing the song. I'm not really sure.
Is there a process you go through? Do you hear the lyrics first and then compose the music, or vice versa, or both?
No, I just sing it. I just sing it, and I compose it with singing it, and then I'm starting like thinking about the musical production, about the instruments, the drums, the bass player, and everything, and then I record, and that's it.
Well, the next track we're going to play, listeners, is entitled 1920, 1920. This was an interesting piece, I thought. Please tell the listeners a little bit about this.
Yeah, well, this one is really strong, really emotional, and it talks about a girl from the 1920s and a girl from the 2000s, and actually she's the same spirit, and they are talking and communicating with each other. And the one from the 1920s, she's saying how hard it is to live in the 1920s and look after her children and taking care of them regarding economically. And everything is so hard because everyone are poor. And the girl from the 2000s, she has no children because she's my age, and she's seeing her future children with actually the same thing. Like, the economy is not really something that changes so, drastically, and history, it repeats itself, and that's it.
It's 1920, the weather is so heavy. I'm starting to realize who I am. There's no time for thinking, there's no time for living. We're working for our children every day. I hope that we'll have everything. I hope that we'll have everything. I'm watching my children. I'm watching my whole life. I'm watching my
You are listening to a featured music special international show today, live from Israel. Lital Yohay is our guest. She's a gorgeous singer-songwriter, a young lady, and compared to us, everybody's a young lady, and got some great material that you've been listening to, folks. We've got 3 more cuts to play before the end of the hour, so stick and stay. There's a track coming up, one of my favorites. I might save that to the end, just so you guys got to stay and listen to us. Lital and I were talking off air, as I tend to do, about the lousy situation for independent artists around the world. But, well, Lital, I won't lament that fact. But how are things for indie artists in Israel?
Well, as you described it, it's a worldwide thing. And, you know, it doesn't matter if you're an indie artist or if you're famous artist, because of the situation and because we are kind of like relying on some organizations that, you know, should pay us royalties and everything. And it's a really tough business. And if you wanna get into it, you need some shoulders, and you need to be aggressive, and you need to learn how to manage things sometimes, and to know what lawyers to whom to sign with and everything. It's a crappy situation, really.
Well, there is some light at the end of the tunnel. One of our show hosts, here's a great example. Nalo Vench, a singer-songwriter, producer. He wrote a song in 2015. I think it was called "Sexy Girl," and he released it as a single, no accompanying album, and he put it on iTunes, and you could download it for, I think it was either 99 cents or $1.29, something like that. Now, folks, when you download a song from iTunes, for easy math, let's just say it's 99 cents when you buy it. The artist gets 89 cents. That's huge. That's huge in the music business, that an artist would get that much of a 99-cent purchase. And I think Nalo told me he got 16,000 downloads from that song over about a 7-month period. So he brought in like $13,000 cash on writing one song, never had it pressed onto a CD, never had a video made, just simply put it up on iTunes and promoted it. And he was able to bring in over $13,000 for his project, and no record label took any money. No surveying company took any percentage. You see what I'm saying? He offered it to the public, and he made it. I think that's fantastic.
Wow, this is huge.
It is. I mean, come on. Most artists don't get ever paid a penny, and here's a guy. I mean, anyway. Well, let's get into the other business. I guess it's business more, in a loose term. But what I'm speaking of is the recording aspect. It's what a chore it is to record. I mean, writing is hard, getting your thoughts together. So tell us about the studio experience for you. How's that been working out?
Well, I have this friend of mine that I'm working with him. He has a recording studio. Actually, I bring students of mine to record there also. And it's a blast working with him, and he is really professional. We work about the recording itself, the lead vocal, and then we are starting thinking about the background vocals and how to do it, that it's going to be special and unique and different, and that's about it. We have another producer that before we record vocals and everything, he really built every single note that I actually singing, and that I'm explaining to him what I want musically. I mean, materially, regarding instruments and everything.
Well, it is an animal in there, and there's an expression, it's called a one-take wonder. What that means, listeners, is that you're such a good artist, you can go in there and do it one time, and it's ready to go. Well, we know that's not really what reality is. Well, maybe it is. Lital, are you a one-take wonder?
No, well,
No one is.
no. I do record it in a, how do you say it, MIDI. He does the MIDI because it's cheaper that way instead of renting the studio for days and starting talking plans with players. So I do that way. And, well, if I have a lot of money to invest on a real recording with a real players, then I will do that. But right now I'm really at the start and beginning, and it's really, really expensive to do that. So.
Well, I hope I'm not divulging any facts the labels don't want us to divulge, but MIDI, folks, that stands for Musical Instrument Digital Interface. MIDI has been broadcast on your favorite songs for decades. Decades, folks. A lot of the music you hear on your favorite songs isn't people playing those instruments. It's a digital device. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But anyway, that's nothing new. So a lot of great stuff out there, and what a terrific tool. Because you got so many variables, and you don't have to destroy anything. You can do as many takes as you want. It's unlimited tape. You don't have to worry about length of time or anything like that. I think it's a wonderful, wonderful tool for artists to use, and I think you're doing a great job with that.
Thank you.
Well, let's jump into another cut. How about Went to Mars? This is an interesting cut. Tell us about this one.
Yeah, well, I actually tried to send it to NASA. It's a story about millions of years from now that maybe humanity will move away, living in Mars, and adults will tell the story to their children about how millions of years ago we were living in the Earth, and that we planned everything to move away to Mars. So this is the story about Went to Mars.
Last night I concurred with all, babe. I guess that I achieved my goal. Went to Mars, yeah, went to Mars. You have got to get it right, how the story even began at a time. Went to Mars, babe, I went to Mars. Every day and every hour, when I talk them all, I convince my plan of mine. Went to Mars, yeah, went to Mars. I've got it all, I'm in control. It's my time to lose the grip of you. Last night I concurred with all, babe, I guess that I achieved my goal. Went to Mars, babe, I went to Mars. You have got to get it right, how the story even began at a time. Went to Mars, babe, I went to Mars. Every day and every hour, when I talk down all, I convince my plan of mine. Went to Mars, babe, I went to Mars. I've got it all, I'm in control. It's my time to lose the grip of you.
Very well done. You are listening to the music of Lital Yohay. She is an Israeli artist. Getting it done, in my opinion. Lital, you're running on all cylinders here. The video channel, we have that linked too, folks. By the way, if you listeners, go to the homepage if you're listening live and click on the YouTube link that's under Lital's name. And if you're listening to this as an archive, that same link is right there next to the archive link. And you can, man, you're really into the video thing, man. You're going to be a movie star someday.
Who knows?
You know, making a music video it has a whole bunch of different things to it. I mean, you know, it's hard enough to write the song, hard enough to get it done in the studio, and then you have to go out and make a video to go with it. What do you find challenging about that?
Wow. Well, I'm a person that does everything, so it's my nature. I'm not really sure that I see it as difficult or challenging. You know what I mean?
Well, and you're obviously quite photogenic, so that helps. I mean, if you look like me, well, anyway, we won't go there, but you're well suited for the video thing. Boy, I like the one. I was watching that one, and you guys must have been using a drone, and you were on the beach, and the drone flies up into the air 100 feet. Man, that's really cool.
Yeah, thank you.
So, yeah, I mean, come on. I mean, with today's technology, look at that. Look, and everybody has one. You know, I mean, it's anyway. How far we've come in such a short period of time. You know, especially with the drones, you can get those such great angles and things that you used to have to rent helicopters to do that. Anyway, what a great time to be an independent artist. Well, in the interest of getting some more tunes in the rest of the program here, let's jump to our next track, which is Every Day. This is another great piece. How'd you come up with this one?
Well, you'll be surprised. You know what is a bat mitzvah? Jewish bat mitzvah?
No, I don't.
Okay, so I had a student of mine. She studied vocals, and she turned 12. And girls, when they turn 12, they have this celebration that they are growing up. So this is a bat mitzvah. So,
oh, you mean like a bar mitzvah? Is it like a bar mitzvah?
Yeah. Boys have a bar mitzvah.
Oh, okay.
It's 13, and and
I got
girls, it's 12. So, anyways, I was thinking about writing a song as a surprise to her. So I just wrote it.
Every day you learn a new thing which put a smile on your face. Every year goes by, we're counting the little things that made you happy. Every day you're walking by, your light is shining and brings a smile. And I just wanna say, just stop for a minute and look around you. Just stop for a minute and watch what I do. Just stop for a minute and look around you. Just stop for a minute and watch what I do. Every day you learn a new thing which put a smile on your face. Every year goes by, we're counting the little things that made you happy. Every day you're walking by, your light will shine and brings a smile. And I just wanna say, just stop for a minute
Oh, yeah. I told you, folks, who brings you the best new music you've never heard? Artist First Radio does. Lital Yohay is our guest live from Israel. And, Lital, you've won over thousands of converts now that realize what a talented and skilled artist you are. How can they buy your music?
What was this question? I'm sorry.
How can they buy your music? Where can they pick up your songs?
Oh, iTunes, Spotify, Music Apple. Yeah.
You know, a little bit more on the studio side of things. You know, I mentioned earlier, you come up with this song in your head. You're hearing it in your head, and then you got to talk to your producer. You got to try the different instruments, the different sounds, the tempo, blah, 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 the million different variables that go into a song. The last thing you do, listeners, when a song is done, it's called the mix down. And that's where you have to decide, well, how loud should the drums be? How fast should this, all the variables, you have to get it done. Some artists really struggle with that. In other words, what I guess I say, how do you know when it's finished and you're done messing with it?
Well, because it's the beginning of mine, the meaty thing is actually kind of like covers it up, and the producer that recording me, after that, he knows how to actually, kind of like plays with it and everything. But really, we don't really sit on it because he does that, and I really appreciate his job, and I know that it's the right thing to do with him.
It sounds like it. There's the final product. Folks, many artists do that. Many artists, even when they record in their own studios, often they'll send the music out to be, they call it mastering, folks. And that's essentially what Lital's talking about here. It's somebody's opinion, folks. When you hear a record, one individual had to sit there and decide this is the way it's going to be. And it's a very important responsibility, because a bad music producer can screw up a great song if the mastering is not done properly. So it's like having a bad sound man at a live performance. Let's talk about that for a minute. In America, independent artists have a really tough time about it. I won't go into all that stuff, but, what's it like in Israel? Are there places you can go play? Do they welcome you? Do they charge you money to play at places? What's it like over there?
Oh, yeah, that thing. Well, as I told you, I just started having concerts just with pianists. I had 2 concerts, and while I was talking with little pubs and maybe the restaurants, they are telling me to have to bring minimum audience, and I have to push it and perform and everything, and they charge you money if not a lot of people are going to your show. So it is tough.
How ridiculous is that? I mean, honestly, people, could you understand what you're saying? And it happens in America every day. Bands have to pay to play. Are you kidding me? Well, and are you going to bring, how many people are you going to bring in? Well, I'm trying to get a following. It's like, how can you, it's an impossible task. If people don't know you and haven't heard your music, and you know what I'm saying? Anyway, it's a catch-22.
That's right. It's like a regular business, no one knows you, and you need to push it, and you need to start get it for free at first. So this is what I'm doing. I'm like, I don't get paid.
Well, you got to have merchandise, right? I mean, do you try to sell CDs at the gigs? That usually works well. I mean, you should be able to recover some expenses by selling CDs at the gigs. Merchandising, there should be Lital T-shirts. There should be, but I mean, it may sound corny, folks, but that's a lot of the way that the artists can make money. If the venue's not going to pay them, then at least they'll let them try to sell their CDs and stuff. You know, a neat idea a band came up with a couple of years ago that came through the station was to put instead of producing their music on CDs, they produce them on flash drives. Do you know what I mean when I say flash drive? The little USB device about the size of your finger that you plug into your computer that can store lots of information.
Yeah.
You know, plus, when you sell them, in other words, somebody comes up and they want to buy your material, you offer it, well, here's the CD, and here's a flash drive. And, you know, the flash drives, you can have them made for $1, $2. You know, you buy the 512K ones, which will hold an entire CD. Anyway, it's a clever idea. Any way to get the music out there that helps is a neat idea, so we like to share that.
Yeah.
Well, tell us about a little bit more about the indie music scene in Israel. When you turn on the radio, do they play any indie artists at all?
No. No. The big ones, not a chance. Internet ones, they do. Yeah, they do a bit, but not really. In Israel, it's not like in the United States.
Well, some words of encouragement. Maybe it was 2015 now. I don't think it was 2016, but in 2015, there's an artist over here in the U.S. called Macklemore. He works in his mother's basement in Detroit. And he's got some, decent computer equipment and some skills. And he put out a song that went to #1 on the Billboard charts. He beat all of those major records. He beat all the record labels. He beat them all. Billboard is I don't know if you ever heard of Billboard, but it's one of the biggest indexes of how artists are doing in the United States as far as record sales go. And here's a guy in his basement with no contract, an indie artist, and he beat out Sony, he beat out Paramount, he beat out Death Row Records, he beat them all because his music was good, not because he was signed to some corporation. Anyway, I think that's fantastic that the little guy, if people just get a chance to hear you, let them make their own decision, not some fat bastard record executive who will decide what all you people listen to. Okay, enough grandstanding, but I'm glad the times are a-changing. We got 2 more cuts we're going to get in before the top of the hour. Let's do the traveling back in time song here. Again, I commend you on the wide variety of topics you choose to write material about. Bravo. What's this one about?
Well, I discovered about myself that I really have this passion of mine to come back in time. I don't know why. And this is about a girl who has this amazing power to travel from time to time, and she can't really stay at one period of time, and she goes crazy. I really want to make a video clip about it, but right now I'm just stopping it because I have another business idea regarding the music industry in here right now to change some things. So I'm doing that right now.
I'm traveling back in time. I've got to get my crush disappear somehow. Whoa, come with me to the future. Whoa, don't turn your back on me now. Yo, you think it's out of control to get you to the 2005. Everything is mixed with the 70s. Everything reminds me of your old friend from the 1920s. Whoa, come with me to the future. Don't turn your back on me now. You think it's out of control to get you to the 2005. Just shut up, keep your eyes close to the target of becoming someone else. I'm traveling back in time. I've got to get my crush disappear somehow. Whoa, come with me to the future. Whoa, don't turn your back on me now.
Folks, get out there, download a copy of that song or any of these, and there's a whole bunch more. Lital is a quite a prolific songwriter so far in her young career. And let's remind everybody right now, in case they can't stay to the end of the show, where are all the places they can pick up your music?
Instagram, Twitter, Facebook page. I am called Lital Yohay Singer, and Facebook page, and the YouTube channel. Well,
we're in the final segment of this particular broadcast. Hey, you have to come back and visit us. It's going to be interesting to watch your career. This is your first CD, and wow, I mean, you're so talented, and you can do everything. All those are good things, good traits to have in this difficult business. So we obviously wish you the best of luck and hope we can do anything we can to let the world know about you.
Thank you.
Well, let's make a prediction. So when you come back on in a couple of years, we're going to be able to go back and play this back. Care to make any predictions about your career over the next couple of years?
Yeah, well, I would really love to come to the United States and play and have gigs and everything. This is my dream, actually, since I was like 5 years old. Again, I've always known that I wanted to move out to the United States and to make my dream come true in the music industry. Actually, I have always known that I'm going to write in English and not in Hebrew. That's it.
Well, I mean, nothing wrong with Hebrew, but so much more of the world speaks English. You're appealing to a much larger audience.
Yeah, well, it's more easier to me to actually think in English than in my native language. So, I don't know.
Well, I'm embarrassed to say I can only speak English, and poorly at that. I wonder what it's like to have to think about writing songs when you can speak two languages. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's hilarious, really.
But what's really important, and I think I've discovered this over the last 21 years. When you play a gig, it's fun as hell, folks. We play all the time. We still do. We're in our 50s now, and we still play gigs all the time. It is fun. However, at the end of the day, next week, next month, nobody's going to remember that gig you played. Nobody, because life goes on. But when you write a song and you record it, and it's out there, like these programs, they will exist in cyberspace forever. It's kind of a way to immortalize your work, is it not, Lital?
Yeah, you are 100% right. You do.
And with today's cloud storage and internet storage capacities and the cost of doing that constantly coming down, there is no reason to think that all of your music won't exist in cyberspace, until the end of the world. And what a great thing, your descendants, your great-great-great-great-grandchildren will be able to listen to you when you were at this age of your life, and they'll be able to listen to your music. This has never existed before that we know of in our civilization, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, it is.
Anybody you would like to, we're getting near the end of the broadcast. We're about ready to play the last cut, which is my favorite. But before we do that, anyone you'd like to acknowledge or say hello to across the vast universe today?
Well, my appreciation to Alanis Morissette, Avril Lavigne, and Elfie. They are the greatest. Michael Jackson, the greatest. These are the people that really inspired me. And yeah.
Well, that's cool that you're, that you'll say that. And those are some great artists, aren't they? You could have picked some more.
Yeah, they are. Really.
That is fantastic.
The greatest.
Well, now remember, you're going to you promised live on air in front of hundreds of thousands of people that you're going to come back and visit us as soon as your next album's ready.
Yeah, well, I wish, really.
Well, you have friends here, and Artist First is at your disposal, and we will do whatever we can to further your career and let the world know you exist.
Thank you.
Okay, folks, I saved the best for last, in my opinion. Hey, I like this song. Never Have I Ever is it's very well done. And I'm sad that we have to say goodbye to you, Lital, but before we do, tell us how this song came into existence and how you wrote this.
Well, you're going to laugh about it. I was watching TV, and I saw this game, Never Have I Ever, and I was like, this is interesting. And I started, writing about this girl who is a pathological liar, and she's so good about lying to others. And
aren't they all? Oh, dear. Wait. Okay, I didn't say that. I'm sorry.
Yeah. She's so good about it, and she's such a good player with this game, and no one really can tell about her lying or telling the truth. So this is about the story.
Well, keep up the good work. You're such an intelligent, articulate, and great artist. Putting all those things together makes for a great material, as you guys have heard on this broadcast. Lital, please come back as soon as you can and let us know what we can do to help further your career.
Thank you so much for having me.
Lost in a cricket game. Never ever felt any pain. Never ever left you for no reason. And I close my eyes and I just can't lie. And I close my eyes whenever I feel like acting it's okay.